Welcome friends to the newest edition of Seahawkers What If, the most unique Seahawks preview show in the multiverse. I'm your host, Clinton Bonner, and I am joined by the one, the only, the great Brandon Schultz. And of course, we could not traverse the Seahawks multiverse without the protector of that multiverse. That is Mr. Phil Leidick down there, center square. Boys, I don't know about you. I've enjoyed the mini bye. I've stepped away. I watched baseball. I watched foliage, for crying out loud. Brandon, how are you feeling? Are you feeling refreshed after this mini bye that I think we needed after 3 weeks of losing?
It's a good foliage week for sure. Maybe not a good baseball week for me just because I haven't been as into it as you have, but the foliage here has been good.
There it is.
Look at you with your Mets cup.
My Mets Turbis. As we're recording this, Mets are down 2-1 in the NLCS, but it's baseball. They play again tonight. Beautiful sport. Mr. Phil, how's your personal inner foliage? Are your colors bursting? Are they green, action green, blue? How are you doing, bud?
Well, it's nice around here in Spokane. We are getting leaves changing, so there's some beautiful foliage, I guess. And one thing I have enjoyed is not watching my team lose in at least a week, because last Thursday I was at the game. There was some high points, but the result was not satisfactory once again. So getting from a short week to a longer week, maybe we need a longer week to kind of breathe in the air, appreciate the lovely change of leaves around us, and get ready for some football this Sunday. Are you guys excited about this game?
I am. I really am. I think it's a very interesting game. I like that they're coming east. We got to play the Falcons here. They're plucky. We're going to get into all that. This is Seahawkers What If. It is our preview show, but this is a pretty plucky team, man. And they've got a little bit of the flair for the dramatic, and they've won some early season games in very dramatic late second fashion. So I don't know. I mean, Vegas says it's a 3-point game. So, we're underdogs. So that basically means, when you're a 3-point road dog, Vegas is calling for a super tight game, Brandon. I'm not sure if you're feeling that too, but usually they got a good pulse of how a game's going to go.
If you've watched any of the Falcons games this year, you'll know that they play every team close, whether they're a good team or whether they're a bad team. So it's very likely that this is going to be a close game.
Yeah, Cardiac Kids, led by Kirk Cousins, of course. Mr. Phil, I know you want to lead us out with a beautiful theme for the week, so I will pass the baton to you. Where do you want to take us, bud?
Well, it sounds like we're ready to theme, and I wish it was a fun theme for Seahawk fans, but hopefully we can turn this around. What we have here are two teams with kind of different trajectories at this current moment. One team's playing very hot. They've scored over 100 points, 36, over 100 points in the last 3 weeks, 36 back-to-back. Their running backs are both hot. Walker isn't as hot, running the ball as we would like right now, so different direction there. They're rising right up in DVOA. They're up to 10th. We're falling. Now, their defense isn't awesome. They're 20th by DVOA, while their offense is 6th. They don't have a great pass rush. Everybody would say that. Their fans, people watching. However, our defense hasn't been good the last few games. We've been giving up 74% completion, 138 passer rating to opposing quarterbacks in this particular streak. So our theme, if you want to pop it up there for us, Brandon, our theme is, while one team is quite hot and toasty, another team has been a little bit cold. So the theme is a hot and cold. We like to change the temperature. We're going to consider some ways that might happen. Hopefully our ideas from Clinton and Brandon will be thermostats rather than only thermometers. And Coach Mike can regulate things back in a better direction for us. But here are our choices that we have. As we consider, Brandon will get to go make the first selection. Thinking about things hot and cold, we have icy hot, tea, and you can, let me know if you prefer it hot or cold. Anything with pizza, we know Clinton always likes. Sometimes people like cold pizza. A lot of people like hot pizza. I'll go with either one. The quarterbacks can be hot and cold, and I think these two in particular have some hot and cold tendencies. And then there's hot packs, cold packs, and then what do you think about the number 212? What does that have to do with temperature? And what does it have to do with Seahawks? So we have some categories. Brandon, you get to make the first selection. Where are we going?
Man, for a Katy Perry theme overall, I would have thought there'd be more Katy Perry tracks listed here, but maybe Phil, not as
Oh,
much
I
of
don't
a
even know who
fan.
Katy Perry is, really, barely. I think
All
I do.
right.
Sorry.
Well, fine. She did a Super Bowl halftime show. I feel like you should know those ones.
We
Yeah,
lost that one, right? And that's we talk Bruno Mars or nothing. No Katy Perry. We don't need it.
Yes, I am old, and when the halftime show comes on, it's time to get the barbecue during the Super Bowl
Jeez.
for me.
All
So.
right. Not even a halftime enjoying. How do
I
we
enjoy
even
halftime because I enjoy barbecue.
you enjoy other things? I crank up the speakers and I enjoy the halftime show. All right. Let's start off with icy hot. And you asked what we might like. Oh, no, you said tea. Okay. There's tea also, but yes, icy hot.
We
Good
need
for
some.
soothing my muscles.
Yes, we need some balm. We need some pain relief from our Seahawks. And as you get further on in the 40s, you might have to use some lidocaine from time to time, some icy hot. But Brandon, what if the Hawks can heat up one area that has been cold lately? Where can that most likely be against these Falcons, Brandon?
Ooh, it's hard not to start off with run defense, especially after seeing what the Falcons were able to do to the Carolina Panthers last week. I mean, Tyler Algier did not want to go down. If you follow the Angry Runs segment as part of Good Morning Football, Algier got the Angry Runs scepter this past week for not going down. And he's not the only one that you can have a problem with the Falcons. You also have Bijan Robinson, who is a great outside the numbers type of runner. And so they do a good job of mixing it up between those two. And it has to be like the strongest point of concern for our Seahawks after as cold as they've been at stopping the run these past 3 games, that now you have a similar tandem of backs like you did against the Detroit Lions that kind of kicked off this bad stretch of run defense. They have to get it turned around against the Falcons.
That would truly soothe the pain to stop these awesome running backs, Robinson and Algier. I would love it if we could do that. I hope you're right. Clinton, where can we heat up that we've been so cold?
Yeah, so I love it. And I think great answer, first and foremost. So nicely done. I could go to the other side of the ball and say, well, we got to run the ball, which I think we do. And I think there's opportunities to do so against this Falcons team. However, I'm going to stick on the defensive side of the ball and say, look, we got to heat up Mr. Captain Kirk there. Okay. Cousins has got to get heated up too. We are still super high in pressures, but what has come down dramatically and, down in our temperature falling down, we got to spike that fever again, man. We got to get home a couple times. We have got to produce not just pressures. We got to get a couple of sacks and get some negative plays on the board that put Kirk Cousins in some 2nd and longs and 3rd and longs. He's a good NFL quarterback. If we can't get to him, he's going to pick us apart. He's going to find the middle of the field like other teams have done. It's in a dome. There's perfect weather, and he will matriculate down the field and just kind of 1,000 slices while they're pounding the rock too. So, guys, we have got to find ways, whether that's a bit more manufactured pressure, just simply getting to the quarterback, not just pressures, maybe a little bit stickier coverage, maybe a little more man coverage. So he has to, hold the ball for a half second longer. It's got to be a combination, but it has to result in a couple of more times getting home versus Kirk and some negative plays, get them into 2nd and 17 so we can start to tilt those possessions in our favor.
Yeah, 50% pressure rate against Purdy last week. And I had those great seats that Brandon let my son and I enjoy. We could see over and over that slippery snake Purdy kept sneaking out. I can't believe we gave up that many points and our defense allowed them to score that much in the backfield, considering how Purdy was under pressure constantly. It was absolutely frustrating.
And to it, Phil, real quick, Purdy he's squiggly like that. He's certainly good enough, and to get out of those things, he's quite wily at it. Kirk is still coming off an Achilles, and this has never been his game. So that's can we just that delta alone, can that be enough where Okay,
But Purdy
cool.
was supposed to be bad against pressure. Like he was sneaking out and throwing, like
Mm.
his stats going in, he was supposed to be poor. He was supposed to give us turnovers we're letting guys leak out over and over.
Dudes were wide open also. He would get out and then, Mason or somebody else is like wide open for easy 7 yards. So
Gross.
yeah, there's challenges there, but let's get a lot of sacks. A lot
Sacks
of
would have
sacks.
solved the whole thing. Yeah, who knew we needed to get sacks?
Yeah, that's all. Easy.
Okay. Icy hot is gone. I would love to see those things heat up a little bit.
Mhm.
Clinton, your next category.
Yeah, I'm gonna go. Look, give me the old 212, right? We're talking Fahrenheit to Celsius. We're talking conversions. Let's go. I want to talk science.
There's some good numbers in there. There's a Seahawk number. It's the boiling point of water. Clinton, losing streaks make frustrations boil. I just talked about one of mine, but what if you two 12s, we're talking Clinton and Brandon, the two of you, tell us how to enjoy football when your team is struggling to put it all together? How do you do that, Clinton?
Oh, sometimes I don't. Sometimes I don't. It's hard. I like winning, and I don't. And I'm not a huge moral victory person in general, guy in general. Just doesn't float my boat to be like, we lost by 5. I could find the good in it, and we do a whole show about it sometimes, right? 3 in, 3 out.
Yeah,
when we recap, it's like, hey, we lost, but there's a lot of good here. So some more specific ways. I was hinting at the running game earlier. We can run on the Falcons. The Falcons have there's some good players like Caden Ellis. He's a good middle linebacker, and he's actually the son of Luther, the old Detroit Lion, Luther Ellis. I found that out today. But you will see a lot of Caden Ellis out there. 7th rounder from 2019 from Idaho. You're like, well, who the hell is Caden Ellis? Well, I'll tell you, he's a good middle linebacker.
He's their only healthy inside linebacker.
And he's a very busy run stuffer. Like he has when a dude has a nose for the ball, this guy has a nose for the ball. So watch out for Caden Ellis. Really, really strong middle linebacker. In general, though, like, look, guys, the Falcons have been run upon. Like 135 yards per game has kind of been like, and plus 150 yards per game. So for me, where can we get some enjoyment? If we can tilt back and just be more balanced and be like, okay, we are striving to be more balanced and we are executing the run game. I could just marinate in that at least a little bit and be very, very satisfied that this is trending in a much more positive way. I'll leave it there. There's plenty of other things to discuss, but let's get the run game make it a factor, and the whole game becomes more enjoyable for me as a football watcher.
It feels like, and I do the same thing. It's your psyche is the hope of improvement in the next game. When we're struggling, we can't put it together. It's like, in this next game, I've got hope we can improve in this area. That's how I'm going to enjoy it. How about you, Brandon?
Yeah, I think for me, it's more of when I think about ways to enjoy it when the team is struggling, it's more of the community aspect of it. And so knowing that as fans, we're kind of all struggling with the same thing at the same time. So it's kind of a shared experience type thing. Yeah. And I appreciate that part of it, just in terms of it in a weird way, just because it's,
commiserating is a joy for you.
It's not a joy for me, but I enjoy knowing that I'm not the only one, if that makes any sense. And so it's helpful that, it's not just me struggling through this. We all are struggling through it. And I'm hopeful that we can turn that around against the Falcons here, because I think there's potential.
Yeah. I know what you're going through, Brandon. I feel your pain. We do
and
it
it's
together.
Not my fault. It's not my fault, Phil. It's not my fault.
Yes. We do it together. We try to find the whys. We try to find the reasons. How do we cope? Some of us gripe. Some of us hope. Some of us imagine. Maybe a little of all of that. All right. I was just curious on your thoughts on that, because these 3-game losing streak is pretty brutal. Yeah.
Pretty rare, too.
We got to fix it. Clinton. No, Brandon.
Brandon.
You get the next category to find the hidden question.
I'm going with tea because I like hot tea.
He prefers the hot tea. That's one of those where when they poll and ask, if you don't include Europeans, if you just go with Americans, it gets pretty even results.
I'll drink cold tea too. I don't care.
Yeah, I like some tea.
He's like,
You just
try me,
like it.
try me.
You
I'll
like
drink, I'll
it.
drink cold tea, hot tea, lukewarm tea,
It's good.
Mr. T.
Brandon,
Wouldn't want to
what
fight Mr. T.
I think there would be pain.
That's great.
What if this game can be refreshing? Which Hawks player can warm our hearts while cooling ATL's Jets this week? Brandon.
Oh, I would say against this Atlanta Falcons defense, I think JSN could warm our hearts, because one of the things that the Falcons aren't real great at doing is getting pressure on the quarterback, which I think allows a guy like JSN, who can be a little shifty, to get open. And the reason why I pick out JSN specifically for this game then is because the Falcons, although they tend not to get pressure, they don't allow a lot of throws deep downfield. And so I'm thinking we're going to see a lot of underneath type stuff, and JSN would be really good in that area. And so I'm not necessarily pinning my hopes then on the run game. We're probably going to continue to throw it a majority of the time, and so I'm going to be looking toward JSN to warm my heart.
They did look good on the outside, ATL. If there was one thing, they seem to defend the pass good, They're at the boundary. So that's a good call out.
They have good safeties. AJ Terrell's good, but I think that intermediate area of the field is probably where we can stick around and attack and
Justin Simmons could be out. He's questionable. So
that'd be big. Him and their safeties are good, right? Bates is also just the guy that, man, he's just disruptive. It's like, turnovers are hard to predict, except he does it a lot. He gets a lot of interceptions. This is Jesse Bates. He causes a lot of fumbles. So yeah, maybe it's hard to predict, but some dudes are better than others in doing it. And Bates is one of them, man. He's just around the ball. But to your point, Brandon, if those are the safeties, if we're working just that zone in between, Atlanta plays a lot of zone. So can we see JSN stuff really shine and just be like, dude, you know how to get into the pockets of a zone? Go do it. So I really like that, Brandon.
And Tyler is so good watching him live. He's just the way he gets open, just crafty. Clinton, who could be refreshing for us? Warm our hearts a little bit.
Sometimes you reach into the fridge, you like purple stuff and, whatever this is, and some Sunny D, right? So I think our iced tea Sunny D this week has got to be the comeback kid. It's got to be Byron Murphy. Like if he steps back in, he's projecting, we record this on Thursday morning. There's time will do what time does, but he's been practicing. And I think we have missed him. Now I realize other folks going to say, well, it's been our linebacking fits for the runs, and the linebackers are not A to being in the Macdonald system well enough. And that's all true. Then they did it better last week. We covered it. Brandon, you and I covered it on 3 and 3 out. Like, wait, some of the run fits were actually better than they were the big gaffes, but we fixed some things and other things got broken. Okay, well, we could work with that. We could cope on that. With all that still, Byron Murphy was a difference maker early, it's a hamstring. Can he come back and just kind of step right back in? That would be very refreshing, right? We see nice and early. They're putting 2 dudes on him. He's absorbing both guys, keeping run integrity. And then we get that improvement we started to see last week from the linebackers, and we start shutting down what can be a strength of Atlanta. The funny part about Atlanta is maybe it's a sign of a good team. When they went to go play Carolina, they ran the crap out of the rock, almost 100 yards each guy, right? Bijan and Algier. When they went to go play Baker and team, they're like, hell's bells, we're going to air it out 50 freaking times and 500 yards later. So that's either a sign of a team that doesn't know themselves yet, or a sign of a team that could play the kind of ball they want to play depending on the opponent. They look at our tape. They're going to try to run that ball. Byron Murphy, the cool, refreshing drink we need on Sunday.
Good call out by you. And I don't mean all the genius football talk you just said. How about Sunny D with some tea? I've never heard of that, but that's a fascinating thought. People like Arnold Palmer, lemonade with the tea. Why not just throw a little Sunny D in your iced tea? Maybe you're having some Earl Grey or some orange black tea, and then you mix in some Sunny D. Has anybody tried that that's listening? That's a fascinating thought. I've never heard that, but I bet it would work. I bet it
I
would
think
work.
so. Yeah, I never have, but I'm willing to try.
Well, you said Sunny D when we were talking tea, so I thought maybe
Oh,
it
for
was
sure.
a New England type thing. I don't know.
I
We're up
heard grape drink, so now I want some grape soda, but
I want
it's
grape
not even
drink.
on the
Yeah.
list.
and then you said orange and you said soda, so now people are thinking orange soda. I don't know. Clinton, where are we going next? We got 3 choices left.
If we're talking soda, what goes? Pizza. Give me some pizza, right? That's
Pizza.
easy. It's right there.
Clinton
Pizza.
likes cold pizza. He likes hot pizza, and people like both pizzas. We have up here the pizza I ate, the pizza I'm gonna eat, which is whatever is left. Pizza slices. You know how we have those charts where you put the slice here and there and everywhere and kind of determine what portion goes to what? Clinton, what if you assess the concerns in this matchup regarding ATL? How do you slice up your areas of concern? Let's say there's 3-ish pizza slices. You can pick how many big slices. Where's the biggest portions of concern against ATL?
Yeah. So the biggest portion is this for me is that Atlanta has a good run blocking line when they want to do that.
Oh,
And I think they're going to want to do that. And just some of the names, these guys, first of all, they sound like hockey players, right? Jake Matthews, Matthew Bergeron, Chris Lindstrom, Caleb McGarry, sorry. These are big body movers. And I know it's Carolina, and we are markedly better on the defensive line than Carolina, like a lot better, much more talent.
Are we sure?
No, yes. Yes, absolutely. They do not have a good defensive line. We do. And again, that it hasn't really even been the problem with that. When Atlanta wants to be that, I think they could turn it on. So they're definitely going to try it. So that's the biggest portion for me, for sure. I'm going to go with a sneaky sliver. While Atlanta, you could look at the stats, the Bears, and the stats are the stats, right? Math is math, that they've been bad at putting pressure on the quarterback, and the overall stats would say exactly that. A sneaky little sliver of concern is they've been much better at it in third down.
Okay.
In third down, Judon and Grady Jarrett are causing pressure when it matters most. They're manufacturing a bit of pressure on third down. We've had some habits of getting into third and longs, and that's not a this year thing. That's been going on for a little bit. If we find ourselves in third and longs, we might have a worse time than we expect. People think Geno's going to have all day back there on third down. I would say change your mentals around that. It won't be as easy as you think it's going to be. Middle one, just trying to get middle. You know what? Let's save some slices for Brandon. Those are my two. How about that?
The big portion is their run blocking. And Coach Mike says our big guys up front, to your point, are doing their job. We're struggling with all the guys behind them not fitting in their gaps. And you could see that live in the game. People, the big guys, they're hanging in there, but the other guys aren't filling the right holes. So that's probably a good call out. So run blocking the big portion, their third down defense the next. Brandon, where would you say like big and small slice of concern with ATL for you?
Well, I think Clinton's sneaky sliver is one of my biggest pieces because I think about just matchup on matchup, and I think Grady Jarrett on Stone Forsythe, and with Stone dealing with a hand injury, he couldn't even practice on Wednesday, and he's going to have to move big man Grady Jarrett around, who is also good at getting to the quarterback, and I feel like he gives the Seahawks a big amount of problems, and so just having that 1 weak link, it could end up speeding up things for Geno, which leads me to my middle area of concern, which is turnovers. That's been an issue all season to this point. The Falcons, part of the reason why they've continued to find ways to win is they've been pretty good at turning the football over. Yeah. And it's those two pieces together that add up to a really big piece of concern for me.
Yeah, Bosa was a nightmare. Jared could be a disturbing dream for sure. Let us continue. I think we have areas of concern. There's no doubt about it. And you guys hit the ones that I was thinking probably. Here we go. 2 left. Quarterbacks or packs? Cold packs, hot packs, quarterbacks that can get hot and cold. What do we want to talk about, Brandon?
Let's talk about packs. I need a hot pack.
Need a hot pack. Okay. What if our defense can begin to pack a punch again, Brandon? We thought they were good, and now we don't. We're not really sure. Are there strategies you hope to see enacted versus this on fire offense, strategy wise, Brandon?
Yeah, I think the I would just like to see more defensive players inside the box, up
Okay.
on the line, because one of the things where the Falcons have had the primary success running the football, especially with Bijan Robinson, is against light boxes defensively.
Oh,
So
okay.
I would like to see us really load that up, and I I feel like I can handle getting beat a little bit in the passing game.
What about
With as
Pitts
well
though?
as Witherspoon has been playing, I hate to say that, but like I would take the risk there over
Okay.
the risk of just offering up a light box for them to run in
Yeah.
and them taking advantage of it, because I think that has the primary area of success for the Falcons.
Yeah. You're probably
Whereas
right.
if we load it up and they're throwing it through the air, like there is a chance that we get beat, but I also think that there's a chance that we win a little bit more often that way.
Yeah, you're probably right. It's just that Pitts has been killing people when they've been loading the box. That's been the is there a
Yeah,
way to
well,
like load the box and still watch out for the tight end that's on fire?
is he on fire though?
Like
Because
you
I
said,
feel like
multiple games of 6, 7 catches that have been
yeah,
drive
I don't get the
continuing.
sense that they have much of a game plan to use him strategically. It's more of like, okay, well, we'll try and like you said,
Yeah.
when they give the looks for it.
What happens is
Um,
the opponent loads the box and then Pitts leaks out. That's what when you
yeah.
watch their last 3 games, that keeps happening. So just a little concern, but I think
I
you're
just
right.
feel like a guy like that you would actually use a little, try and involve him into the game plan more rather than just, if situationally like that.
Yeah.
But
It's smart, but sure. Clinton,
I guess if it's working for him.
yeah. Strategy thoughts that you hope to see enacted versus this on fire offense, Clinton.
Yeah, for sure. And I want to say quickly on the stacked boxes too. I think I'm not sure Atlanta can do what the Niners did to us, but it seemed to me like when we did stack the box, we got burnt like bad. Like that's some of the most explosive plays when we brought a lot of folks down.
Crispy.
Yeah. So, but it was kind of one of those things where last week the lighter box were fitting better, the 2 high and then some 1 high, but then we stacked the box, they had some explosives. So I think it's a little bit playing with fire, Brandon. So I just want to kind of call it out and say maybe. But
I'm
I'm not.
cold show. Brandon wants to play with fire. He can play with fire.
I want to play with fire because I think Bijan Robinson's going to be on fire if we go light box.
Right. I get it. Yeah, for sure. So a tactic or a strategy that we talked about again on 3 and 3 out, the unique recap show we did, that we started to see. I think last week we started to see another layer of what Macdonald can do, and it was on a short week. Now we got the mini bye. What do I mean by that? We were starting to see some mixing up of what the constitution of the defensive line looked like and where they were lining up. There were plays, Brandon, you and I went through a couple of plays where they're stacking Mafe right next to Hall on the right-hand side, and then doing a sim pressure, and then getting a dude come off the left side who's like, all right, they're overloading, got Mafe and Hall here. They're 2 best rushers. They do a little bit of a trickery, and all of a sudden the guy from the left-hand side is actually penetrating within half a second. Or we saw quite a bit of, or at least enough of Leo Williams playing straight up edge, like getting him out of the 1 or 3 technique, kicking him outside, and he's making Trent Williams look like a fool on a couple of plays. So I like that. I want to see more of that. And to me, it's a bit of the maturation of what Macdonald wants to do to be multiple, and a continuation of that, Phil, would be really, really interesting. I think it would lead back to my first point and allow us to get the pressure we saw, get home a bit more, but just some more trickeration with you don't know where these dudes are going to line up. And I think we could take advantage of that, especially with a quarterback who's got the Achilles, who's not going to move like Purdy. Just he can't move like that. Little escapability, but not much at this age for Kirk.
Which leads right into our final category. You guys have skillfully managed to talk game without tons of quarterback talk. But this quarterback matchup is an interesting one for me because it's probably my 2 favorite quarterbacks in the league. I'm not saying they're the best. I just enjoy their game. I enjoy who they are, what they stand for, just kind of how they've worked their careers through various things. But Clinton, we start with you. What if we compare these cool quarterbacks who can heat up their offenses? In what areas are they better than the other? Like if you're going to say Geno's stronger than Kirk at this, and then maybe something Kirk is better than Geno at.
Yeah. Okay. So I'll start with, I still think Geno is a better straight up deep ball thrower. Kirk's got a heck of an arm. It's just that usually you're not seeing too much over the top stuff going for 50, 60 yards. It's not like Drake London's taking house calls. Now, Metcalf had another one last week that just gets called back because Kenneth Walker is doing a bit of an Irish shuffle, when he shouldn't be doing one. Okay. But it would have been another bomb touchdown to DK. So I think he's just straight up still a better deep ball thrower and maybe has different weaponry that allows for that as well. Kirk is, look, if we play a lot of zone, which we fluctuate back and forth, we play a decent amount of man, but this week's going to be very interesting, guys. Like, we don't know if Reek is trending to not play. Trey Brown looks like he's not going to play. We just lost Rayshon Jenkins to the IR. The DB room it's in dire straits. So we're talking Pritchett. We're talking maybe Kobe Bryant getting a lot of play time. If those kind of dudes are there, look, man, I think Kirk is one of the best in the league of taking what you give them. Would it shock me if Darnell Mooney has 7 receptions for 80 yards because he's just freaking open in front of Kobe Bryant? Yeah. No, Kirk will find those dudes.
That's right.
They both process well. Kirk will, if you give him a zone and just give him enough time, he will pick you apart and be methodical. He's patient. Maybe that's what it is. Maybe he's a bit more patient even than Geno. Those would be my 2 answers.
Very good. I would love, of course, to see Geno, and he will, raise the Lombardi trophy. But if Geno doesn't get his shot, it would be pretty cool to see Captain Kirk, after all he's gone through, to get his chance. I'd be pulling for him. This week, I'm definitely not. But Brandon, when you consider these two, what's one better than the other at?
Man, if I'm thinking of quarterbacks who I'd rather see holding up the Lombardi, after being on, in weird situations, I guess I go more towards Sam Darnold than Kirk Cousins. But Kirk definitely a better quarterback. And
he's more fun too. He's more fun. Do you like that?
I don't know. I've never been.
Okay, that's okay.
I appreciate that he's your guy. It's fine. He's not mine.
Okay.
Anyway.
Hot and cold. I love it.
Yeah, the things that I think that Kirk does really well, Clinton hinted at it a little bit too, is that he knows like when downfield is not an option and is willing to take that check down and go on to the next down. And I don't get that same sense from Geno, and maybe it's had to do with the offensive coordinators and just giving him that option of having that check down. But Kirk is very good at finding that guy when he needs to, which leads me to believe that for our Seahawks this week, they have to be good at rallying to the ball and tackling. If you're going to leave that check down option open, you've really got to rally to the ball, wrap up, tackle well. And that's one of the things that I think that can help lead them to success in this game, because, like I said, Kirk's so good at that.
Yeah, and they're 2 of the best. They're 2 of the best at the end of the game. Like comeback, right? Like last several years, you give them a chance. You do not want to give these guys a shot at the end of the game to move the ball down the field.
It almost makes it feel like it's one of those games where the team with the ball last is going to have a really good chance for success, because both the way the Falcons have played everyone closely, I think it's just bound to come down to that. So we have to accept that. And it would be nice if our Seahawks got the ball last. Geno Smith drives down the field and, DK pounds it in for the game-winning touchdown.
Yeah, and Geno rarely lets you down if you give him that chance at the end. He rarely does. The games we lose by multiple scores, it feels like. Maybe that's just a vibe I have. Yeah, should be an exciting one with these two. I think that they should pump this game up at the NFL, because there's a big chance it could be exciting, and I hope so. Well, we need to get to your guys' wishes, your What If Superhawks, but we did have some folks throw some wishes in the wishing well, which means we go to From the Flock. Karkar got hers in early. She's been wishing here. I hope her wish comes true. K9, 100 plus yards. Maybe by asking for just total yards this week, he'll finally get it. Sigh. I hope so, Karkar. Josh Tehuman, 2+ touchdowns for Geno. I think that's very, very possible wish. I think that if it doesn't happen, that's going to be a bummer, actually. And then we have Designed Pete's Beach House. She wishes that DK would silence the haters that want to trade him. Brandon wants to steal that one. 12-man records wishes for a win. I think that's a worthy wish after these last three. We even had 3 people with an N to agree. Frost, Witherspoon, at least one Witherspoon worthy hit. He usually gives us that. And 1 interception. Smokey the Bandit chimed in. He just wants the ball. He wants turnovers. I can agree 1000%. I was asking for that last week. We definitely didn't get it. You guys have any extra comments on our Flockers wishes here?
Man, turnover. We have been missing that aspect of the defense. And when you turn the ball over 3 times like we did, and it could have even been more against the Niners. Yeah, I can definitely sense the frustration of wanting to get the football.
How about you, Clinton? Any of these jump out?
Well, one does, but I'm going to hold my cards. So Brandon doesn't. So just say one of these little flockers is going to be awfully happy with my wish.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I like that. So we are going to get to your What If Superhawk, and then we'll tell you how you guys are standing up to this point. What If Superhawk coming from Brandon first.
All right. See, Clinton wanted to hold it close because he didn't want me stealing the one that I'm stealing from Amy, which is for DK to silence the haters. And I guess the way that I would like this to play out in particular is a DK second half touchdown.
Okay.
So yeah, getting on the board late. And so that's why I was leaning toward, especially if it's a close game late, DK Metcalf getting in the end zone, putting us ahead at some point there in the second half. That is my What If Superhawk.
And DK, our most wished for player on the show, no doubt about it. And then followed by Spoon. Clinton, how about your What If Superhawk?
Yeah, I'm going to make Karkar super happy here. I'm going to talk a little bit about K9 and the thing that the Falcons do. They're like, I don't know, they're way up there. Like one of the top 2 or 3 teams in the league is they play a lot of zone defense, a lot of zone. And what ends up being successful against Atlanta is running backs catch a lot of passes against Atlanta because they're playing zone, little things to the flat, little leak outs, things like that. Downfield is protected pretty well, and boom, K9's open. K9 the last 3 games, I think it's 8, 7, and 5. I think I have those. Those are receptions. He didn't do that years previous. This is a new kind of page turn for him. So what do I want? I want at least 5 receptions. I want 40 yards. I want a touchdown through the air, 40 yards receiving, and a touchdown through the air for Kenneth Walker III. That is my triumphant of a wish.
TD receiving.
Hopefully more than 40 yards actually running the ball too. So
yes, I want the over 100 for Karkar, but a chunk of that.
You're going in a unique
a good pizza slice, not the majority, but a good one. 40% of it or more will be, or less, will be through the air.
Well, last week, your guys' wishes.
I was so close.
Clinton wished for a DK touchdown, and his What If Superhawk this week ruined his wish by shifting right when they were supposed to snap the ball like a goober and destroyed Clinton's awesome bomb. We were all celebrating, and then there's this stupid yellow thing laying on the turf there, and that was a disappointment. And this was the weirdest moment of any game I've been at. Not that play, but Brandon's wish was for Trey Brown. And let me tell you what happened. Trey Brown gets hurt, and the dudes that sit next to you were cheering. They're like, yes, get that loser off the field. I'm so glad he's hurt. And they were like, just screaming and they were drunk off their heinies, but just so thrilled that Trey Brown was gone because he was in. I've never seen fans cheer an injury, let alone fans from the player's own team. So
yeah,
excited.
That sounds like them.
Okay, so you know these people. Anyway, so Trey Brown did not get a sack, did not get a pick. He got hurt and got cheered for doing so by the people next to me. So neither wish came true, but because of the $1 move by the crafty, the slippery, pretty-like Brandon, that was cold. I shouldn't have said that. The sneaky, get away from pressure, Brandon. He was able to win again because he predicted a 1-point Seahawks victory, which is closer in total margin. Well done by you, Brandon. But this week you have to go first. So let's see what your strategy involves as you select the score this week.
Oh, I don't mind going first this weekend. I think our Seahawks pull off the win in Atlanta because they're due for a bounce back game for one, and we've seen the team travel east. I don't think that the Falcons are going to be able to pressure Geno the same way that we've seen him get pressure, and which leads me to think that he's going to be able to find ways to dissect this Falcons defense, keep the Seahawks in the game throughout the game, and come down to maybe a final drive where we ultimately are able to pull ahead and get the, let's say, 30-27 win.
30-27 game-winning drive. I love it. I can see it happening. This is a highly likely outcome in the what if multiverse. Clinton, how about you? Your score prediction for this game? I'm gonna say points. Lots of points.
I'm so excited because I wrote this down while we were doing the show. So earlier wrote this down. I was going to go with it no matter what Brandon said. I wasn't going to change it. And my score, which I also love because I am doing the Price is Right advantage here, 30-33-31 Seahawks. I think this is going to be a bonanza. I think this is going to be a lot of points in a dome. Teams that can throw the ball, teams that can run the ball when they choose to run the ball. All the points. Vegas is saying 51, right? Which is, I think, the second highest or the highest. There's only 2 games this week that are 50 or over. We are one of them. So they're expecting a lot. I expect even more. 33-31 Seahawks. Big, dramatic, fun game. And I hope we're all celebrating as opposed to crying in our Sunny D infused iced teas.
And I want someone to finally win because we won, not because the score was closer on a loss. That 3-3, it's time for the change, right? They've won 3, we've lost 3. It's time for a switch. There's no doubt about it. We got to get it this week. No matter how I'm feeling, I want to believe we will. And I might just try that Sunny D with my iced tea during this game, gentlemen. And with that, I think there's just one thing left to say. So what if we say,
go Hawks?
Go Hawks. We're going to get hot. Chill out, Falcons. Chill out, Falcons.
And go Hawks.
And go Hawks.